The next war, important war, is the Kargil War. I'll mention Siachen also. Siachen is the only war which India actually started, in the sense that this area was unmarked, the Siachen glacier. The British did not mark it. Later on, Pakistani and Indian officers also didn't. They said, who's going to go and occupy these wastelands? There's just snow and waste. But the Indian Army did. And further, even later, it is said, and I have got evidence from India, General Chibber himself said that they moved there first. So he boasted about it. And secondly, Indian generals apparently did not want the Indian government to move the troops back from there. So this war on the highest war theater in the world is still going on. Kargil is important because this was again a typical case of a clique. In this case, General Pervez Musharraf, Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Mahmood Ahmad, Corps Commander of 10th Division based in Rawalpindi, Lieutenant General Muhammad Aziz Khan, and the officer who executed it was Major General Javed Hassan, Field Commander, Northern Areas. And Nawaz Sharif, who was the Prime Minister at that time, says that he was not informed. Sultan Aziz Saab, when I interviewed him, said that this is so. Some people do not agree, but one does not know. Naseem Zahra has written an excellent book about it, and she also thinks that he was not informed, that the Prime Minister was not informed. Well, eventually what happened was that once again the General Musharraf said that the Pakistan Army would have stayed on those heights. Other people say that this was not so. Nawaz Sharif went to the US to seek aid in order to halt the carnage, and that is what happened. Both Pakistani and Indian soldiers performed very well in this war. There are cases of bravery on both sides, and some cases of bravery have been referred to, for instance, now on the Pakistani side by Indian officers. So that is certainly there. Again, the ordinary people did very well. But just like the 1965 war, when General Musa, at that time the chief of the army, the commander-in-chief himself did not agree with the 1965 war, but eventually, because of Ayub Khan's pressure or something, finally he gave his assent to it. In the same way, this war, although Musharraf was the Chief of Army Staff here, but many senior officers did not agree that this should happen. In the Navy and the Air Force also, there was skepticism about it, which they have written about. This war was certainly one of those where a clique takes excessive risks. Then Pakistan has been fighting, still is actually, with religious militants. This started because in the first Afghan War, when in 1980s, Russian Marxist governments of Afghanistan, the last government, Babrak Karmal, invited Soviet troops to support him, and Soviet troops marched in Afghanistan. Ordinary chiefs, etc., tribesmen, they rebelled against that. And many factions were created. America then found a chance to fight a proxy war against the Soviet Union to bog it down in Afghanistan, just as the United States itself was bogged down in Vietnam. So Pakistan helped him, and in this, General Zia and General Akhtar Abdur Rahman were the clique which actually did it. Again, there was a so-called, there was a legal government, but that wasn't even consulted. General Arif writes about it. He says this. So the Afghans were trained. The United States supplied them with arms and ammunition, and they fought and finally drove back the Soviet Union, which had had enough. But because the Americans had brought in many people who were die-hard Islamic militants, they stayed on. And some of them later on became uncontrollable and they attacked the US also. That was 9/11. Pakistan, which had been friendly with them, which had been using them, now started going after them at the behest of the United States. And when this happened, they started attacking the Pakistan army and civilians in Pakistan. This is something which is still going on. Although it had become, because of certain operations, it had the number of people killed, etc., because of these blasts and so on, had gone down tremendously up to 2021. But then the Taliban took over in Afghanistan, and once again they have gone up. So this is what is happening now. And now I just sum up because there isn't enough time for me to go on. All I'll say is that decisions for initiating aggressive military action, which did precipitate wars, generally has been taken by a small clique of Pakistani decision makers. Except in the first Kashmir War, this has been composed of military officers, though some of them were also heads of state. Ayub Khan, for instance, when these decisions were taken. Yahya Khan also, he was the head of state when these decisions were taken. These decisions were inordinately risky. And the ideological assumption, as I said before, was that India will not retaliate, that non-state actors are controllable by the Pakistani state, and that plausible deniability will not compromise the state. Whereas in fact, none of these things turned out to be true. And now, unless here we means India and Pakistan, and actually the world, we somehow do not settle the Kashmir conflict and other conflicts with each other and settle down for peace, Pakistan and India, the whole region and the world is in danger over nuclear confrontation. So therefore, peace is really in the interest of everybody, not just Pakistan, not just India, but also the rest of the world. Thank you very much.